What's going on, guys? My name is Drivos, and today we're going to take a look at my Dragonmaid competitive deck profile for 2022. So let's go. This deck profile, by the way, was the one that I took with me to the Euro Nationals. That was here on at the 12th of June, 2022. And I will say that I am a little bit disappointed of myself. I scored 115 out of 120, which means that I I suck at this. That means I only scored 2 points, 2 draws. So let's begin. If you can find the issue with this deck profile, please comment it down below or send me a pinned message with it or a private message on YouTube. But let's begin. So starting up, I'm using 2 copies of Chamber Dragonmaid. Chamber is the search for this deck profile because she is something that you want to see in your opening hand as quick as possible. Because she can search for a lot of cards. She can search for the fusion spell, the special summoning spell, the returning trap cards. So she is just good to have a couple of. Then I'm using triple copies of Kitchen Dragonmaid. Kitchen Dragonmaid in this deck profile is one of the bigger searchers because you can summon her, search for Chamber, summoning Chamber effect, searching for a spell card, effect, fusion summoning. So I will say that is not the best strategy to just think of because, well, you can't do that. You can't just summon and then activate effect to summon. No, you need to actually have something to summon with. And a good thing to start out if the monsters are in the graveyard is Nurse Dragonmaid. Nurse Dragonmaid works as a monster reborn for this deck profile. And, well, she's just good to have 2 of. A lot of people is overthinking the monster reborn thing and are using triple copies, but you only need 2. If not 1, actually. But I'm just using 2 because you never know when you're gonna need a monster reborn. Then I'm using 2 copies of Paulo Dragonmaid. Paulo works as a fool's burial for this deck profile, sending cards to the graveyard. That is basically everything. Then, for the last mate form, I'm using 1 copy of Laundry Dragonmaid. Laundry Dragonmaid in this deck profile works as a gamble, because summon her and then you have to send the top 3 random cards. You don't know what the card is. Completely random. It can be the best cards that you just need in the graveyard, or it can literally be your best card, but you can't use it in the graveyard. So it's a little bit of a gamble. Then for the Dragon forms, I'm using Laundry's Dragon form, Dragonmaid Nut Jarl. Nut Jarl is good to search for monsters in the graveyard. What I mean with this is, discard Nut Jarl to add a monster from your graveyard to your hand. Then I'm using 1 copy of Dragonmaid Ernest to special summoning monsters from your hand. Also a good combo to have Ernest and Chamber in your hand. Discarding Ernest, special summoning Chamber, effect from Chamber, searching for a Dragonmaid spell trap card. Now the Dragon form for Kitchen Dragonmaid is Dragonmaid Tenkek. I think it's how you pronounce the name. Don't get me wrong, and if you say the names otherwise, just comment it down below because I want to know how different we actually say it. But she is the biggest, that is one of the biggest attack points raising. That was what I meant. That she was big. I can speak English today. I'm sorry. But this card, Tenkek, to give one of your Dragonmaids 2,000 extra attack points. Then moving on to the last Dragon form, I'm using 2 copies of Dragonmaid Lorepar. Lore Power is good in this deck profile to protect your monsters from effects, basically. Because when I can discard this monster in either player's turn to choose one monster, and neither player can target that monster with card effects. Pretty cool, huh? Then moving away from the Dragonmaids, I'm using one copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which have the effects to special summon a dragon monster from my graveyard or hand once per turn, which is a huge, just something that you need to have in this deck profile. Then I'm using one copy of Nibiru or Nibiru, how you pronounce it. I most likely want to call it Nibiru, but sometimes I call it Nibiru because it just sounds better. But this is just one of the biggest hand traps that you can have in your deck profile. It's because, well, when your opponent have more than 5 summons, you can just bam summon this guy to the field in most of the times attack position, and then summon a Nibiru to your opponent's side of the field, and yeah, that is just it. Then moving away from the big meteor strike, I'm using one copy of Fallen of Albaz. Fallen of Albaz is one of the best fusion effect monsters to ever exist. Because when this monster is summoned to the field, I can, by the use of this monster and any monster my opponent control, fusion summoning a fusion monster to my side of the field. Most likely I will go for starting on a fusion drain, but in some conditions I will go for Predaprint Draco Stapelia. Then I move into hand traps, and then the first one is one copy of DD Crow. DD Crow is good to just banish card from your opponent's graveyard. Nothing really big there. Then one copy of Effect Veiler, and triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Springs. Which, by the way, guys, this one I actually borrow it from a friend. I got it from a friend that said, "Well, good luck in the tournament." And then he gave this card to me, but it's only for loan. I'm not keeping this. Don't you worry. He will be getting it back as soon that he will. Well, as soon we will see each other next time. Then I'm using one copy of Dark Magician, of course, 2 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, as a lot of people might have noticed. And the last monster is the Winged Dragon Frost Spear mode in this deck profile. A lot of people might think that it is so stupid to use a Ghost Rare in a competitive Dragonmaid deck profile because, well, I will say again, most of the times I will not prefer this in a side deck. And I might also be side decking this card because it is for no use in this deck profile. Then moving on to the spell cards, I'm using 2 copies of Dragonmaid Changeover. Changeover is just a spell card to fusion summon a lot. And that is really anything that it can do. Also, when you have a Dragonmaid monster out on your field, you can return that monster to your hand alongside with this spell card from your graveyard, and then you just have it again. So, regeneration of the spell card. Then I'm using 2 copies of Dragonmaid Hospitality. Dragonmaid Hospitality is one of the best special summon cards, and I'm actually a little bit sad that I'm not running triple copies because it is so good to have triple copies of. I was just cracking my neck there, nothing to see. But you can just special summon again and again and again. Then moving on to the more normal spells, I'm using 2 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna expand it a little bit. I'm using 1 copy of Monster Reborn, and 1 copy of Magical Metal, and 1 copy of Fool's Burial. These three spells is one of the best. I will say these two spells might be the best startups. Fool's Burial to send cards to graveyard, and Magical Mallet to redraw. Nothing bad. And Monster Reborn, of course, to special summoning monsters. Then I'm using to just irritate my opponent, Hold by the Grave, and Harvey Duster, which again, this is not my own. This is a friend of mine. So I will give it back to him tomorrow, because right now it's Friday and I'm going to see him on Saturday, which is the day where I will just give it back to him, because most likely I don't need it. Yeah, it is a good card, but right now I'm just thinking about to give the cards back to the original owners. Then I'm using not one copy, two copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly in this deck profile is actually one of the best things that you can do, I have realized, because you will never be able to win a match with only one Super Poly. So that is the reason I'm ranked 2. Then moving on to not the last spell card, but most likely a lot of people will think, Red Eyes Fusion to summon Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Nothing there, I can't special summon or normal summon monsters the turn I use that card. And after 17 years, guys, Change of Heart has finally seen the daylight once more. I'm using one copy of Change of Heart. I just fucked up there. I need some more water. Good water. Or is it? No. That was a little sidetrack. Moving back to the video, guys. But after 17 years, Change of Heart has finally seen the debut once more. It has finally seen the daylight, and I hope it will continue that way. Moving on to trap cards, I'm running one copy of Downtime to search for cards and return cards, and two copies of Thailand to return cards. Then for normal traps, I'm using Warning Point to negate effects and preventing my opponents from link summoning. Then moving on, I'm using one copy of Evenly Matched and one copy of Infinite Impermanence. So yeah, guys, that was everything for the main deck. I got you there. You thought that it was the whole video, right? Moving on to the extra deck, I'm using two copies of Dragonmaid Sheo. Sheo is one of the best fusion monsters ever seen in this deck profile. And before Eternity Code was released, the whole archetype just needed this fusion monster, because at the start it only had House Dragonmaid. House Dragonmaid is also one of the best cards to just pop cards when you return your monsters to your hand, which you do a lot. Then one copy of Diamond and Fusion Dragon, and one copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which I think a lot of you guys already know the effects of. Then one IP Masquerena to link summon, and then one Nightmare Cerberus and one Unicorn to just have in the extra mine. Now moving on to Link Force, I'm using one copy of Topologic Ceroboros and one copy of Access Code Talker. You can see it. I move the camera a little. Now you can see it. I'm actually glad that I pulled this one. And Topologic Ceroboros is just, again, if I'm going up against Elf Lich, I have a Link 4 that can just banish everything on the field. Moving on to Xyz monsters, I'm using one copy of the Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon. This monster is very good to have in the mind, because it has the effects to special summon again and again, just to take control over your opponent's monsters, and then you can, for the most of the times, because I don't have anything else out of everything, I put my Galaxy Eye Cypher Blade Dragon in this deck profile. Also, guys, I will say that I will start to use my Galaxy as a full armor photon dragon once again, because, well, it will just be necessary. Then moving on to the last two cards in this deck, extra deck, I'm using one copy of number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy that can just negate effects and use them for overlay units, all the cards, and one Divine Arsenal Zeus. I finally pulled one, but I'm so sad that I didn't do it on video because it would have been insane. But yeah, guys, that was everything for this deck profile, or was it? No. Of course, you're going to see my side deck as well. First of all, I'm running 5 tokens, which is not in my side deck. I'm an idiot. But let's begin. Yeah. So first, I'm running one copy of Artifact Lancia. Again, a card to counter Eldritch, because it have the quick effect. I can tribute this card from my field or hand. Effect: neither player can banish cards from their graveyard this turn. Then I'm using one more copy of DD Crow to banish cards. Again, this deck is most likely built to counter Eldritch. Then I'm running one copy of Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. If your opponent links summons effect, special summoning, and then I can draw the cards. For the last main deck cards in this side deck, I'm using one Royal Decree to negate all trap effects, one DNA Surgery, again a good card to then I can just call Dragon, and one Needle Sealing to clear the field. And you might be thinking, why are you using DNA Surgery? Well, DNA Surgery in this side deck and that, guys, is because I'm using one copy of 5-headed dragon, which needs 5 dragon monsters. DNA Surgery, Cold Dragon, and then Super Poly, summoning 5-head dragon. Easy. Then I'm using one copy of Predaplant Draco Stapelia, and one copy of Starving Venom Predapower Fusion Dragon, the newest fusion monster to the Predaplants and Starving Venom. And again, guys, before you commented, this monster is not in my side deck, but I will definitely put it in because of this and this. But it is not in my side deck. Then I'm using one copy of Topologic Truspania that can banish cards, all spell and trap, and deals 500 for each. Again, a good counter against Eldritch. Then I'm using for Xyz monsters one Abyss Dweller in this side deck. And for the synchros, one Borload Savage Dragon and one Black Rose Dragon, not Red Rose Dragon. But yeah, guys, again, comment down below, what would you have done differently? Is there something that I should have done? Is there something that I should have taken out and put in instead? Comment it down below, and we'll see each other next time. Peace out.